Hi, welcome to the first video in a series of 6 basic drawing videos. My name is Mindy and I'm going to teach you some basics about drawing and how to draw, and then we'll do hopefully a nice big project together at the end. In this video, I want to talk to you about what you plan to draw with. So you can draw with anything. You can use pencil, colored pencil, markers, crayon, anything you want. But this video is specifically about choosing your pencil. So probably at this point, you know what type of pencil is most comfortable in your hand. Some people like to use mechanical pencils because they feel right in their fingers and they feel good. But we're going to talk about pencils in the way they apply graphite to paper, because that's an important thing to consider when you're drawing. So we'll talk about comfort in your hand as well as the kind of lines they make on paper. Okay, so the first thing to remember is that pencils, you can use any kind of pencil. It doesn't have to be a pencil from an art store. It can be a regular school pencil, something you get from your teacher at school or you use for math class, or you can get an actual art pencil, or anything that makes marks on a paper is good. But pencils that most pencils will have some sort of indication as to whether the graphite in the pencil is soft or hard. So you've seen pencils that have an HB or a 2B or a 2H written on them down at the end. That's important to know when you're drawing, because you want to choose a pencil that fits your style of drawing and what you plan to do with it. So this pencil has an HB, and H stands for the hardness of the lead, and B stands for the softness of the lead. And it's a scale, basically, with HB being right in the center. Okay, so you have HB, H for the hardness, and B for the softness of the lead. So just to explain a little bit about that, hard lead means that the graphite is really hard. And if it's hard, it means it doesn't come off onto the paper very easily. So you don't get a very dark line with a hard pencil. With a soft lead pencil, the lead is soft, so it comes off onto the paper much easier. So you're able to get a richer, darker line. And that's what we mean by hard and soft. Okay, so an HB is right in the center. So with an HB pencil, you can get a line that is sharp and light, and you can shade lightly with it, or you can get pretty dark, thick lines with it because it's right in the middle. But then there are other pencils. Typically, a school pencil is a 2B, so it's a little bit softer on the scale because the numbers go higher this way and higher that way. So a 2B is about here on the scale. Okay, so a 2B pencil just means that it's a little softer than an HB because it's going this way. So you should be able to get a nice, rich, dark line. And it can go all the way up to, here's a 5B. A 5B is even softer than a 2B, right? Because it goes up the scale. And here, with a 5B, you should be able to get a really nice, thick, look how thick of a line you can get with a 5B. Okay, there's also, I think I've got a 6B here. Here's a 6B pencil. That's even softer than a 5B. So compare that to a 5B. And you can get really thick, rich lines. What's nice about soft lead, too, is that it smears easily. And that can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing, too. But a lot of people like to use their finger and smear around and get some nice soft shading with a soft lead pencil. And 5B and 6B are good for that. Now going the other direction, there's an 4H. So that means it goes this way towards the harder leads. So a 4H is probably about right here on the scale. So you get a really sharp line, but you can see that the shading or the richness of the line is not as dark and shiny as the soft leads. Okay, so it's just a lighter color, if you will. And then here's a 7H, so that's really hard. That's way down here on the scale. And you can see, even if I press as hard as I can with my hand and shade over and over in one spot, see how I'll never get that spot as dark as a soft lead pencil. That's the difference. So if you like a really thick, rich black shading and high contrast in your drawings, a hard lead pencil is not for you. But if you like a really detailed, very sharp line drawing, tiny little details, then a hard lead pencil is good for you. Okay, now another option are your mechanical pencils. Now, mechanical pencils you don't typically buy for the hardness or softness of the lead, you usually buy the size of the lead. But you can get some really nice drawings with mechanical pencils, but you might want to keep in mind that the lead is typically on the harder scale than on the softer scale. But if you work a mechanical pencil well, you can still get some nice rich blacks. I'll show you a nice example here. Here's a drawing I just completed the other day. And I'm able to get some really nice rich darks with my mechanical pencil, but it does take a lot of work to get a rich darkness out of a mechanical pencil because the lead is so hard, because it's a lighter lead. Okay, so some other things you may use. You would probably need an eraser, so you might want to play around with erasers if you have access to the gum erasers or the soft erasers like these. These are fun. These are nice because you can make them pointed, and so that you can do some really detailed erasing. They also are kind of self-cleaning too. You can use it and clean it like that, and then you can just keep using it. But it's nice because you can mold it to the space and use it how you want. It's also nice too, you can actually erase with it or use it to simply lighten up an area. So that's nice to do. The white erasers are really nice because they keep a sharp point, and sometimes you want to be able to be very precise with your erasing. We're not really erasing mistakes. We're using these as a drawing tool. So erasers are more, a drawing tool than they are to erase mistakes. We don't really erase mistakes. Another tool that is common to use when you draw are blending stumps. No reason at all that you need to go to the art store and buy blending stumps, because all they are is soft paper rolled up into a stick. So you can make your own blending stump or simply use your finger or a paper towel on your finger. Sometimes the oils in our hands kind of leave our paper looking dirty sometimes. So sometimes you want to cover up your finger with a paper towel, but you can smear and get some soft shading using a soft lead pencil and just your fingertip. But these are fun to use because you can get some really, really detailed shading with it in tight little spots. Like I might use this tiny one if I'm doing, eyes on a cat or something. But anyway, those are handy to use. Another tool that I use a lot is sandpaper. Now you don't need to go out and buy a artist sandpaper thing like this, but anything rough like sandpaper, a little scrap of sandpaper that someone could give you, those are nice because if you need a sharp point, you can just do that to get the point that you need on your pencil. And I use those all the time rather than sharpen. The more you sharpen a pencil, the more you waste of it. So it's better to rarely sharpen, but use your sandpaper to get the edge that you need on your lead. So before you watch the next video, figure out what tool you plan to draw with, and then we'll go from there, and we'll learn some shading techniques and some other basic skills, and you'll be able to use those skills on a project that we do together. Okay, thanks.